I'm not entirely sure how, but somehow the year 2024 is nearly over, and this year I have had the privilege of reviewing quite a few really great new pieces of tech. So I thought it would be kind of fun to take a look back at 2024 and give you guys a list of the devices, the hardware that were good enough to make their way into my daily use. Now, this is going to run the gamut from phones, earbuds, things related to my television. So it's a fairly comprehensive list. All that being said, let's jump into it. So let's start with the one that I think most people are going to be curious about. In the year 2024, we've seen some really nice phones, right? I've reviewed the Pixel 9 Pro XL. I've reviewed the Galaxy Z Fold 6. Of course, the OnePlus Open isn't really a 2024 device, but it is still a great device. What is my current daily use phone? What phone have I gone back to over and over? Guys, no surprise for some of you, it is the Pixel 9 Pro Fold. I absolutely love this phone. I do wish that some things had stayed the same from the original Fold to the sequel. I wish that the aspect ratio had stayed the same, but it's really hard for me to nitpick major problems with this device. The camera might not reach the same amazing heights as something like the OnePlus Open, but it is far more consistent than that device. I know that when I pull this thing out and snap a photo, it's going to be perfectly serviceable, and even beyond that, when I need to do some pretty major edits to different photos, things like Magic Editor, specifically the Reimagine feature, is extremely useful, and it's one of these things that I just don't want to be without. I find myself using Pixel Studio way more than I thought that I was going to. From the hardware perspective, it feels really good. It's thin, it's lighter than it was before. It has these two very bright, very nice looking screens. The performance is more than good enough for me. Daily, normal use things, it feels very fast. The battery life is solid, more than enough to get me through a day. Like I said, there have been some great phones released in 2024, but for me, the choice is an easy one. It's the Pixel 9 Pro Fold all day, every day. In 2024, I did something that I had not done in a very long time. I purchased a Windows laptop, and not just any Windows laptop. This is the Surface Laptop 7. Of course, this does run the new Snapdragon X Elite chip, so this is Windows on ARM, and I was very curious to see how I would feel about this device, if it would be worth the fairly high price tag. And I'm here to tell you now, months on, this is the best laptop that I have ever used, and it is still a laptop that I am using all the time. Now, unfortunately, this device is not perfect. Such a device does not exist. There will be some applications, some programs that will not operate correctly on ARM. They may not operate at all on ARM. But luckily for me, the things I do on a laptop are absolutely fine. It's primarily things like research for content, where the production actually happens on a more traditional desktop. So that out of the way, there are just so many things about this device that I absolutely love. And probably the biggest thing is the battery life and the standby time. I can leave this thing closed in standby for days on end, and when I pick it up, the battery will have barely moved. Now, this is just something that I've not experienced with Windows devices in the past. I can use this thing for like a week at a time without needing to charge it sometimes. I'm primarily just browsing the web and things like that, but that is absolutely incredible. And everything it does remains extremely snappy. The keyboard is nice. The trackpad is among the best trackpads that I have ever used, and I absolutely mean that. That sounds like a small thing, but when you're using the trackpad constantly, that does make a big difference. I love the way that it looks. It is slim. It is relatively lightweight. It's just such a polished, well-made device, and it ticks virtually every single box for me. This next one has been nothing short of a pleasant surprise for me. Sometime back in the middle of the year, I reviewed a set of speakers from Edifier, the R1280 DBs, and I thought that I would enjoy them. I thought I'd be able to put them to good use, but in reality, they have been an absolute game changer for me, and in a way that I doubt Edifier intended them to be primarily used. These things are, kind of advertised hooked up to like a record player or a stereo system, something like that. But I had something different in mind, and it has worked brilliantly. So what you're looking at here is my Nebula Cosmos projector, and as you can see, it does have a set of speakers built in, and they sound okay, but they just weren't anywhere near loud enough for me. So what I did is I ran an optical cable into these Edifier speakers. There's one here and there's one on the other side. And I set them up so that if you are sitting here on the couch and you are facing our projector screen, the left channel is on the left, the right channel is on the right, and they basically play straight over your head, and they sound really, really good. Hopefully that came through adequately well, but these things will absolutely rattle the walls. There's a good amount of bass. It makes that movie watching experience so much more cinematic than it was before. So whether we're watching movies or we are watching my Tennessee Titans lose over and over, they have absolutely been a great addition to my everyday tech in 2024. Over the years, I have tested so many pairs of wireless earbuds in search of the perfect set for me that I have basically lost count. And there have been some really, really good ones, earbuds that maybe fit well but didn't have the feature set or the audio quality, earbuds that have the audio quality and the feature set, but maybe they did not fit well. It took all the way until 2024 for me to find the set that I think might stay with me for a long time. The closest thing to perfect I have used so far, and it is the Google Pixel Buds Pro 2. These things tick all the boxes for me. The audio quality is very, very good. The feature set is there. It works great with Google's Gemini Assistant, which I do use fairly regularly. I think that the controls work very well. Volume controls, swiping on them works very, very well, but most importantly, they stay in my ears. There is this little ridge on the back of them that sits against a part of my ear and it holds them in place. Now, this is not going to work perfectly for everyone, right? Everyone's ear is going to be shaped differently, and so for you, they may fit great, they may not fit as great, but for me, they stay in place, which is absolutely huge. I hate wearing earbuds where every 5 or 10 minutes you're having to poke them into your head again to get them to stay in place. I can put these in and wear them for hours without feeling uncomfortable or without them wanting to fall out, and pass-through mode is good enough to make that be tenable as well. Again, the Pixel Buds Pro 2 are absolutely a set of earbuds that I am happy I got to test and use in 2024, and they will remain in my pocket for the foreseeable future. In this little bag is the next item on the list. If you're someone that does use a lot of mobile tech, you might find yourself out on the road needing to charge your devices, and this Ugreen battery bank has been really, really good. Okay, it's 25,000 milliamp hours, and that is pretty darn sizable, but it also charges at 145 watts. That means I can charge like my phone and my laptop at full speed off of the same battery bank, and that is absolutely killer. There's not much more to say about it other than that. There's a little display on the side that shows you how much charge the battery bank actually has. Again, it's a battery bank. I don't really need to go too much further in depth on something like this, but if you're looking for a really good battery bank, it's going to be hard to do a whole heck of a lot better than this one. There for a little while, I was testing and reviewing tons of these retro handheld consoles. Some of them run Android, some of them run these sorts of strange Linux operating systems, and in 2024, I came across one that I think is the one that I'm going to continue using, and it's not because it's the most powerful, it's not because it's got the best controls, it's because It reminds me of my childhood. Reading off the back, this is the Anbernic RG35XXSP, and of course SP does reference the fact that this looks just like a Game Boy Advance SP, and that was one of my all-time favorite childhood game systems. Again, I do have more powerful handheld systems available, ones that are more flexible because they run Android. I can play Minecraft on them or whatever it might be, but there's just something about this, playing some of these Pokemon ROM hacks. It feels familiar but new at the same time. This form factor is just absolutely fantastic. So there you go, guys. Of all the hardware that I had the privilege to review in 2024, those are my favorites. I'd love to hear from you guys, though. What new device did you get in 2024 that just kind of changed things for you? Drop that comment down below. Subscribe for more content like this, and until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.